The beeping sound woke Dr. Jai Kim from his nap. He had fallen asleep at his desk again. The small office at the Global Space Observatory in Seoul was dark, except for the blue glow of his computer screens. The beeping continued. Jay rubbed his eyes and looked at the main screen. What he saw made him sit up straight. "This can't be right," he whispered. The radio telescope array was picking up a pattern. Not random noise from space, but a clear, repeating signal. Jay's hands moved quickly across the keyboard. He ran the standard tests to make sure the equipment wasn't broken. The signal was real. Jay reached for his phone and called his boss. "Director Song, you need to come see this now," he said, his voice shaking a little. "I think we just received a message from another world." Within 3 hours, the observatory was filled with scientists, government officials, and military personnel. They all crowded around Jay's screens, watching as the signal continued to come in. "It's definitely artificial," said Jay. "The pattern repeats exactly every 42 seconds. Natural phenomena don't do that." Suk Park, the government's top diplomatic expert, leaned forward. Her eyes were wide with excitement. "Where is it coming from?" she asked. "Alpha Centauri," replied Jay. "Our closest stellar neighbor." The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. Humans were not alone in the universe. Over the next few days, Jay and his team worked non-stop to decode the message. They discovered it contained basic mathematical sequences, prime numbers, the value of pi, and simple equations. But there was more. "This part here," Jay pointed to a section of the signal displayed on the big screen in the main conference room. "It contains language. Not just one, but several Earth languages." On the screen, words appeared in English, Mandarin, Spanish, Arabic, and Korean. Asterisk greetings, people of Earth. We have been watching. It is time to meet Asterisk. They've been studying us, said Colonel Hanley, the military representative. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes narrowed slightly. For how long, I wonder? The United Earth Council formed a response team. Jay would lead the scientific efforts, while Suk would handle diplomatic preparations. The world's best minds came together to craft humanity's first message to the stars. Meanwhile, far beyond Earth's detection abilities, another group received the same transmission. Aboard a massive ship hidden in the shadow of a distant moon, dark figures gathered around a holographic display showing Earth. "So the Nexus has finally reached out to them," said the ship's commander, his voice like grinding stones. "The humans advance quickly. Too quickly. Their technology is primitive," said another figure. "But their rate of development is concerning. All emerging threats must be contained," the commander replied. "The Void Dominion has maintained order for 10,000 years. We will not allow another upstart species to disrupt the balance." Back on Earth, humanity celebrated. News of the signal spread worldwide. Religious leaders debated its meaning. Scientists worked frantically to learn more, and governments prepared for what might come next. In his small apartment overlooking Seoul, Jay stood at the window, looking up at the night sky. Alpha Centauri was just a tiny point of light among billions, but now it meant everything. "We're ready," he said softly to the stars. "Whatever comes next, we're ready." He didn't know that Earth had just taken its first step into a dangerous galaxy. He couldn't know that in 3 short years, he would be at the center of a crisis that would change the course of human history forever. The message had been sent. The response was coming. And somewhere in the darkness between the stars, the Void Dominion was already planning how to deal with the troublesome species called humans. 3 years passed quickly. Earth had changed in that time. Countries that once fought each other now worked together. The United Earth Council built a special center in Seoul for the day when aliens would finally arrive. That day came on a clear morning in June. The sky above Seoul turned bright with strange lights. People looked up and pointed. Some ran in fear. Others stood in wonder. A large ship, smooth and silver, like a giant teardrop, moved slowly through the clouds. At the first contact center, Dr. J. Kim stood next to Suk Park on the wide landing pad. They wore special blue uniforms made just for this day. "Are you nervous?" asked Suk. "Yes," said Jai with a small smile, "but also excited." The silver ship stopped above them. It made no sound. A beam of light touched the ground, and two figures appeared. They looked almost human, but not quite. They stood taller than any person. Their skin had a faint blue tint. Their eyes were large and dark. They wore simple white clothes that seemed to glow slightly. "I am Ambassador Liran of the Nexus Alliance," said the first visitor. Its voice was soft but clear, like music. "This is Science Officer Talon. We bring greetings from the 7 worlds of the Nexus." Jay stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth. I am Dr. J. Kim. This is diplomatic expert Suk Park. We speak for all humans today." Cameras from around the world captured this moment. Billions of people watched on screens big and small. History was being made. Inside the center, the visitors explained many things. The Nexus Alliance was a group of 7 different alien species who had joined together long ago. They had been watching Earth for over 100 years. "Your people have grown quickly," said Ambassador Liran. "You went from horse carts to spaceships in a very short time. We believe you are ready to join the larger community of worlds." Science Officer Talon showed them star maps. Earth was on the edge of a busy part of the galaxy. There were many other worlds with thinking beings not far away. "There is much to learn," said Talon. "Much to share." While the meetings went on, Colonel Hanley watched from a small room nearby. He did not fully trust these visitors. "They seem friendly," said a young officer next to him. "So do tigers until they bite," said Han. "We need to be careful." Han had spent the last 3 years building Earth's defenses, new weapons, better ships, training soldiers, just in case. The United Earth Council thought he was too careful, too worried. But they let him do his work anyway. That night, there was a big party. The visitors ate human food and seemed to enjoy it. They listened to music and watched dance shows. They were polite and kind. Jay found himself talking with Science Officer Talon late in the evening. "You said there are many worlds near us," said Jay. "Are they all friendly like the Nexus?" Talon was quiet for a moment. "Most are peaceful. Some are not. But the Nexus keeps the peace. And those who don't want peace, they are dealt with," said Talon. Something in the way the alien said this made Jay feel cold. Far away, on a dark planet with 3 moons, a group of figures looked at pictures of the Earth celebration. "The humans welcome the Nexus with open arms," said one. "They do not know any better," said another. "They will learn, as all new species learn." "Prepare the ships," ordered their leader. "The humans have something we want, and we always get what we want." Back on Earth, people celebrated into the night. A new age had begun. Humanity had joined the stars. No one knew that danger was already on its way. 6 months after the aliens came to Earth, things were going well. Humans learned about space travel, new medicine, and strange machines from the Nexus Alliance. Earth sent 27 of its best people to live on the big Nexus space station. Dr. Jai Kim and Suk Park were among them. The space station was amazing. It was like a small city floating in space. 5,000 beings from many different worlds lived there. Humans were the newest members. Joe loved his new lab on the station. The Nexus gave him tools he had only dreamed about on Earth. He was learning how stars were born and how planets formed. Suk spent her days meeting aliens and learning their ways. She helped them understand humans too. There was going to be a big meeting. A cultural exchange conference. Humans would share their art, music, and history with the galaxy. The day of the conference came. The main hall of the station was full of people from many worlds. Suk was about to give the opening speech when the lights went out. When they came back on, strange beings stood at every door. They were tall and thin with gray skin. They wore black armor and held weapons. "Nobody move," said one in perfect English. "This station is now under our control." Panic spread through the room. Some aliens tried to run. The gray beings fired their weapons. Blue light flashed, and those who ran fell to the floor. "We are the Void Dominion," said the leader of the gray beings. "We have come for the humans." They moved quickly, grabbing all the humans in the room. Jay tried to fight back, but a weapon touched his side, and pain shot through his body. He fell to his knees. The last thing he saw was Sook being dragged away. When Jay woke up, he was in a small dark room. The walls were made of some kind of metal. Sook was there too, along with the other humans from the station. "Where are we?" asked Jay. "I don't know," said Sook. "We're on a ship." I felt it move. A screen on the wall turned on. The face of a gray being appeared. Behind him was a black flag with a red symbol. "People of Earth," said the being, "I am Commander Vex of the Void Dominion. We have taken your people. They will remain alive as long as you do exactly as we say." The camera moved to show all the humans in the room. "We want your quantum computing technology. All of it. And we want Earth to swear loyalty to the Dominion. You have 30 Earth days to agree. If you do not, we will kill one human each day until you do." The screen went dark. On Earth, the United Earth Council met in an emergency session. The Nexus ambassadors were there too. "We must find them," said the head of the council. "The Void Dominion is dangerous," said Ambassador Lyran. "They control many systems at the edge of our territory. They use fear to rule." Colonel Han Lee stood up. "Can we fight them?" "Their technology is far beyond yours," said Lyran. "The Nexus has tried to keep them in check for centuries. Direct conflict would be unwise. So we just give them what they want?" asked Han. "Diplomacy is the safest path," said Ambassador Lyran. "We can help negotiate." Han looked around the room. "While you talk, our people suffer. I need a team. I need resources." "What are you suggesting, Colonel?" asked the council head. "I'm suggesting we show these terrorists that humans play by different rules," said Han. "I'm suggesting we get our people back." "How?" Han's face was hard as stone. "By doing what humans do best. The impossible." In the cold room on the Dominion ship, Jay held Sook's hand. "Do you think Earth will give them what they want?" she asked. "I don't know," said Jay. "But I know Colonel Han won't sit and wait. He'll come for us." "How can you be sure?" "Because he's human," said Jay. "And humans don't negotiate with terrorists." Colonel Hanley stood in front of the United Earth Council. His face showed no fear, only determination. "I need 3 people," he said. "The best Earth has. And I need them now." The council leader nodded. "You have full authority, Colonel. Whatever you need." That evening, 3 people arrived at the secret military base under Seoul. Han met them in a room with no windows. "You all know why you're here," he said. 27 of our people have been taken. We're going to get them back." Jin Park sat with perfect posture. He was once the best Special Forces soldier on Earth. He could move without making a sound and get into places no one else could. He had retired 5 years ago, but when the call came, he answered. "I'm ready," he said simply. Next to him, Dr. Yun Choi adjusted her glasses. She had spent the last 6 months studying alien languages and minds. She knew how different species thought and felt. This knowledge would be key to understanding the enemy. "I've read everything we have on the Void Dominion," she said. "Not much, but enough to start." The last person was Da Kang, a young man with quick eyes. He had been watching the Nexus technology since they arrived. Some said he was the best hacker on Earth. He had already learned to work with alien computer systems. "Their tech is advanced," he said, "but all systems have weaknesses." Han looked at them with approval. "We have 28 days before they start killing our people. The Nexus says we can't fight the Dominion. They say we should talk and make a deal." He walked to a screen on the wall and turned it on. The face of Commander Vex appeared. repeating his threat. "This is what we're dealing with," said Han. "The Council will pretend to negotiate to buy us time. Meanwhile, we're going to do what no one expects." "How?" asked Jin. "We don't even know where they're keeping our people." Han smiled slightly. "That's our first problem to solve." The next day, Han met with Ambassador Liren. They sat in a quiet room in the first contact center. "We need information," said Han. "Where does the Void Dominion operate? Where might they take prisoners?" Liren looked uncomfortable. "Colonel, I understand your concern, but direct action would be a mistake. The Dominion's technology." "I didn't ask for your opinion," Han cut in. "I asked for information. If you want Earth to stay in your alliance, you'll help us." Liren was quiet for a moment. Then, reluctantly, the ambassador shared what the Nexus knew about Dominion territories and bases. Later, Han showed this information to his team. "Too many possible locations," said Jin, looking at the star map. "We need more," agreed Yun. Day had been quiet, working on a small device. He looked up with excitement in his eyes. "I think I can track them," he said. "The Dominion ships use a special kind of signal to talk to each other. I've been studying it since the kidnapping." "Can you find where our people are?" asked Han. "Give me 2 days," said Da. 2 days later, Da burst into Han's office. "I found them," he said. "They're on a moon base orbiting a gas giant in the Epsilon Eridani system. I intercepted their communications." Han called the team together. "Now we need a way to get there without being seen." "The Nexus won't help us," said Yun. "They're afraid of the Dominion." "We don't need their help," said Han. He pressed a button, and a door opened to reveal a strange-looking ship. It was black and sleek, unlike any Earth craft they had seen before. "This is the Ghost," said Han. "We've been working on it since first contact. It uses our new quantum shift technology. No one can see it coming." Jin touched the ship's smooth surface. "When do we leave?" Han looked at his team. These 3 humans were about to go against an enemy with technology centuries ahead of Earth's. The odds were bad, but Han had seen humans beat bad odds before. "We leave tonight," he said. "And God help the Dominion when we find them." In the cold cell on the Dominion base, Jai and the other prisoners didn't know that help was coming. But soon, the galaxy would learn an important lesson about humans. They don't negotiate with terrorists. They eliminate them. The Ghost ship sat in the underground hangar, its black surface drinking in the light. Engineers moved around it, making final checks. Time was running out. Colonel Han stood with his team, looking at a 3D map of the Epsilon Eridani system. "This is the gas giant," he said, pointing to a large planet. "And this is the moon where they're holding our people." The moon looked small and cold. It had no air and no water, just rocks and dust, and the Dominion base built into its surface. "How heavily guarded is it?" asked Jin. Day pulled up the information he had gathered. At least 50 Dominion soldiers, automated defense systems, energy shields. And this, he pointed to a ring of small satellites around the moon. "Early warning system. If anything bigger than a rock comes near, they'll know." "Good thing we'll be invisible," said Han. "The Ghost can slip past their sensors." Dr. Yun had been studying the Dominion psychology and culture. She looked worried. "There's something you should know," she said. "The Dominion doesn't just take hostages for technology or power. They enjoy fear. They feed on it. These aren't normal terrorists. They're like predators." Han nodded grimly. "All the more reason to hit them hard and fast." The team spent the next 24 hours planning every detail. Jin memorized the layout of the base that Da had pieced together from intercepted transmissions. Yun practiced Dominion language and command phrases. Da worked on a device that could hack into their systems. Meanwhile, the United Earth Council sent a message to the Dominion, pretending they were considering the demands. It was all to buy time. "The Nexus representatives are getting suspicious," said a council member who came to check on their progress. They keep asking what we're planning. Tell them nothing, said Han. I don't trust them. Not completely. As the launch time approached, Han gathered his team for one final briefing. Once we're in space, there's no turning back, he said. The trip will take 3 days using our fastest drives. We'll be on our own. No backup. No rescue if we fail. Jin checked his weapons. They were mostly Earth-made, but some had been adapted with ideas from Nexus technology. We won't fail, he said. Ian looked less sure. The Dominion outguns us by centuries. Even with the Ghost, we're taking a massive risk. Risk is what humans do best, said Dai with a small smile. It's how we got from caves to space in a blink of cosmic time. Han looked at his watch. Launch in 30 minutes. Any questions? There were none. Each person knew their job. Each understood the stakes. As they prepared to board the Ghost, an alarm sounded. A security officer ran into the hangar. Colonel, the Nexus representatives are demanding to see you. They say it's urgent. Han frowned. Tell them I'm busy. Sir, they're saying they know about the Ghost. They're threatening to inform the Dominion if we don't stop. The team looked at each other. This changed things. How could they know? Asked Jin. Someone talked, said Han, his face hard. Or they've been watching us more closely than we thought. What do we do? Asked Ethan. Han thought for a moment. Then he made his decision. Move up the launch. We go now. Right now. What about the Nexus? Asked the security officer. Delay them, said Han. Tell them anything. We need 10 minutes to get the Ghost out of here. The team rushed to the ship. Engineers scrambled to complete final checks. The massive hangar doors began to open above them, revealing the night sky. Day was the last aboard. As he climbed in, he looked back at the busy hangar. Do you think Earth will be okay if the Nexus turns against us? He asked. Han's eyes were cold and determined. Earth survived ice ages, asteroids, and its own wars. It will survive this too. The Ghost's engines came to life with a soft hum. Unlike normal ships, it made almost no sound and gave off almost no heat. Ready? Asked Han, looking at his team. They nodded. Then let's go bring our people home. The Ghost rose silently into the night. By the time the Nexus representatives reached the hangar, there was nothing to see. Just an empty space where humanity's hope had been. 3 days in space felt like forever. The Ghost moved silently through the darkness, its special technology hiding it from all sensors. Inside, Han and his team made final plans. We're entering the Epsilon Eridani system, said Dai from the pilot's seat. On the screen in front of him, a yellow star grew larger. 2 hours until we reach the gas giant and its moons. Han checked his weapons one last time. Jin was already in his stealth suit, a black outfit that could change color to match any background. Yun reviewed her notes on Dominion language and behavior. Remember, she said, the Dominion believes they are superior to all other life. They expect fear. If we show none, it will confuse them. As they approached the gas giant, a massive planet with swirling storms, Dai pointed to one of its small moons. There it is. The base is on the far side. The moon was gray and lifeless. The Ghost moved around it slowly, staying in the shadow. Then they saw it, a structure built into the surface. It looked like a metal spider with legs spreading out from a central dome. Sensors show 53 life forms inside, said Dai. 27 match human patterns. The rest are Dominion. Can we land without them seeing us? Asked Han. Yes, but we'll need to be half a mile from the base. Any closer, and we risk their ground sensors picking us up. The Ghost touched down silently on the dusty surface. The team put on spacesuits designed for stealth operations. Each suit had enough air for 6 hours. Comms check, said Han. Clear, replied Jin. Clear, said Ian. Clear, finished Dai. They left the ship and moved across the moon's surface in low, easy jumps. The low gravity made movement strange but fast. In 20 minutes, they reached the edge of the base. Jin pointed to a small entrance, an airlock used for maintenance. That's our way in. Day attached a small device to the airlock's control panel. Numbers flashed on his wrist computer as he worked to break the code. 3, 2, 1. Got it, he whispered. The outer door slid open. They stepped inside, and the door closed behind them. Air hissed into the small chamber. When it was full, they removed their helmets. We have to be quick, said Han. Eon, which way to the prison section? Bun consulted the map on her wrist. Down 2 levels, then east. They moved through the base like shadows. Jin went first, checking each corner before signaling the others to follow. Twice they had to hide as Dominion guards passed. The aliens were tall and thin with gray skin and eyes that seemed to glow in the dim light. 1 level down, they found something unexpected. A large room filled with cells. But the prisoners weren't human. What is this? Whispered Han. Ewan looked shocked. These are other species. Look at the markings on the doors. Different worlds. Different times of capture. Inside the cells, alien creatures of various shapes and sizes looked out with sad eyes. Some moved forward with hope when they saw the team. The Dominion doesn't just target humans, said Ewan. They've been doing this for years, taking hostages from developing worlds. This changes things, said Han. We can't leave them here. But our mission is to save our people, said Jin. Han looked at the prisoners, then at his team. Our mission is to show the Dominion that taking hostages is a mistake. Freeing only our people sends half a message. We don't have enough room on the Ghost for all of them, said Da. We'll figure that out later, said Han. First, let's find our people. They continued down to the 2nd level. As they turned a corner, they came face to face with a Dominion guard. Before the alien could react, Jin moved forward in a blur and struck. The guard fell without a sound. Nice, said Da. This way, said Eon, pointing down a corridor marked with strange symbols. At the end of the corridor was a heavy door. Through a small window, they could see humans inside a large cell. Dr. Jakin was there, sitting with Suk Park and the others. They looked tired but alive. We found them, said Han. Now comes the hard part, getting everyone out. What Han didn't know was that deep in the base, Commander Vex was receiving an unexpected message. It was from the Nexus Alliance, warning him that humans might try a rescue. Vex smiled, showing sharp teeth. Let them come, he said. It will make this game more interesting. Day worked quickly on the cell door's lock. His fingers moved over his small computer while the others kept watch. Almost got it, he whispered. With a soft click, the door opened. The humans inside looked up with fear at first, then hope as they recognized their rescuers. Colonel Lee. Jay stood up shakily. How did you find us? No time to explain, said Han. We're getting you out of here. Suk helped the weaker prisoners to their feet. There are guards everywhere. They check on us every 30 minutes. Han looked at his watch. Then we have 12 minutes. Move. The freed prisoners followed Han's team back the way they had come. Jin led the way, with Yun helping those who struggled to walk. Dae stayed near the back, watching his sensors for any sign of trouble. Wait, said Jay as they passed the level with the alien prisoners. What about them? We're taking them too, said Han. But we need to get to the control room first. Dae needs access to their main system. The control room is heavily guarded, said Suk. We'll handle it, said Jin with quiet confidence. They took a different path, moving through service tunnels that Dae had found on the base plans. Soon they reached a door marked with Dominion symbols. This is it, said Eon. The control center should be through here. Jin pulled out a small device. Stand back. He placed it on the door and pressed a button. There was a flash of blue light, and the door slid open. Inside, 3 Dominion guards turned in surprise. Before they could react, Jin was among them. His movements were too fast to follow. In seconds, all 3 guards were on the floor. "Clear," he said. Day rushed to the main computer. It was alien technology, but he had studied Nexus systems for months. Many of the principles were the same. "I need a few minutes," he said, his fingers flying over the strange controls. "Hurry," said Han. "Jin, Yun, get the others to the ship. I'll stay with Da." As Jin led the prisoners away, Dai made a sound of surprise. "Colonel, you need to see this." On the screen in front of him were files, thousands of them, each with information about different worlds and species. "They've been doing this for centuries," said Da. "Taking hostages, demanding technology, making planets bow to them." Han scanned the files. "Can you download this?" "Already doing it," said Da. Then he gasped. "Colonel, look at this." He pulled up a message log. The text was alien, but Da had a translation program running. "These are communications between the Dominion and members of the Nexus Alliance." Han read the translated messages with growing anger. They've been working together. The Nexus has been helping the Dominion choose targets. Jai, who had stayed behind with Han, looked shocked. Why would they do that? "Control," said Han. "The Nexus keeps the peace by letting the Dominion handle the dirty work. They keep emerging civilizations in check." Day continued working. "That's not all. Look at this, a list of Nexus officials who are secretly working with the Dominion, including Ambassador Lyran," finished Han, reading the name on the screen. "No wonder they tried to stop us from coming." "I've got everything," said Da. "And I've unlocked all the cell doors in the base." Han touched his communicator. "Jin, all prisoners are free. Guide them to the ship. We'll meet you there." As they turned to leave, an alarm began to sound. Red lights flashed in the corridor. "They know we're here," said Han. Day smiled as he unplugged his device from the system. "They're about to know a lot more. I just sent copies of all these files to every communication system in the base, and I set their own transmitters to broadcast it to the nearest 50 star systems." Han looked at Dad with new respect. "You did what?" "The truth should be free," said Da. "Isn't that what humans believe?" In the corridor, they could hear the sound of running feet. The Dominion guards were coming. "Time to go," said Han, pulling out his weapon. "And time to show the Dominion why taking human hostages was their biggest mistake." Red lights flashed throughout the base. The alarm sound hurt their ears. Han, Da, and Jay ran through the corridors toward the exit. "They're coming from both sides," shouted Da, looking at his small screen. Han saw a side door. "In here." They ducked into a small room filled with strange equipment. Through a window, they could see Dominion guards running past. "We need a new way out," said Han. Ja looked around the room. "These are weapon controls," he said. He had learned about Dominion technology during his captivity. "They control the base's defense systems." Day's eyes lit up. "Can we use them?" "Maybe," said Ja. He moved to a control panel and studied it. "If I can redirect power from these defense turrets to the main generator, what will that do?" asked Han. "Create a power surge, maybe enough to shut down the security doors." Han nodded. "Do it." "Da," called Jin. "See if they made it to the ship." Day spoke quietly into his communicator. "Jin, where are you?" "At the airlock near the ship," came Jin's voice. "We have all the humans and about 40 aliens, but we're trapped. Guards at both ends of the corridor." Han thought quickly. "Jay, can you access the base map from here?" Jay nodded and pulled up a glowing 3D image of the base. "Here we are. And here's Jin's group." Han pointed to a section between them. "What's this area?" "Power distribution," said Jay. "It connects to the main generator." A plan formed in Han's mind. Not a safe plan, not a careful plan, but a human plan. "Jai, don't just create a surge. Overload the system. Ja looked shocked. That could destroy the whole base. Exactly, said Han. How long would we have? Maybe 10 minutes before critical failure. That's enough time. Han turned to Da. Tell Jin to be ready to move on my signal. Jay worked quickly on the controls while Han watched the corridor outside. Dominion guards were getting closer, searching room by room. Ready, said Jay finally. Do it, ordered Han. Jay pressed a sequence of buttons. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the lights flickered. A deep rumble shook the floor. A new alarm sounded, different from the first. A voice spoke in the Dominion language. What's it saying? Asked Han. Power core unstable. All personnel evacuate. Translated Ja. 10 minutes to core breach. Immediately, the Dominion guards changed direction. They were no longer looking for prisoners. They were running to save themselves. Now, said Han into his communicator. Jin, get everyone to the ship. We'll meet you there. They left the room and ran through the now empty corridors. The base shook with growing violence. Panels fell from walls. Steam burst from broken pipes. This way, shouted Ja, leading them through a shortcut. They reached the main level and saw freedom ahead, the airlock that would lead them outside. But standing in their way was a tall figure in black armor. Commander Vex, whispered Ja in fear. Vex looked at them with glowing yellow eyes. Humans, he said, his voice cold. You surprise me. No species has ever dared to do what you have done. We're full of surprises, said Han, raising his weapon. Vex laughed. Your primitive weapon cannot harm me. Maybe not, said Han. But what about your own weapons? Before Vex could react, Dai pressed a button on his device. Suddenly, the defense turret on the wall behind Vex turned and fired. The blast hit Vex in the back, sending him crashing to the floor. I rewired the security system while downloading the files, explained Da with a small smile. They ran past the fallen commander and through the airlock. Outside, they put on their spacesuits and rushed across the moon's surface to where the Ghost waited. Jin stood at the ship's open door. Hurry. The rescued prisoners were already inside, packed tightly together. There was barely room for Han's team. Everyone hold on, shouted Dai as he jumped into the pilot's seat. The Ghost rose from the surface just as the base began to collapse. Explosions ripped through the dome. Fire shot into the airless sky. We did it, said Suk, looking back at the destruction. Not yet, said Han. We still need to get home. And the Dominion will send ships after us. Probably already have. The Ghost accelerated away from the moon, its stealth systems hiding it from sensors. Behind them, the Dominion base disappeared in a final explosion. Jin looked at the crowded ship, full of humans and aliens who had been prisoners just hours ago. What do we do with them all? We take them home, said Han. First to Earth, then to their own worlds. And we tell everyone what we learned today. About the Dominion, asked Ayan. About the Dominion, about the Nexus, about everything, said Han. The galaxy is about to change. 1 month after the rescue, Earth was a different world. And the galaxy was changing too. The Ghost had returned to cheering crowds. The freed hostages were heroes. But the biggest change came from the information they brought back. The truth about the Nexus Alliance and the Void Dominion. Colonel Han Lee stood at the window in the United Earth Council chamber. Below, in the streets of Seoul, people from a dozen alien worlds walked among humans. They were representatives from planets that had also suffered under the Dominion. They keep coming, said Suk Park, now Earth's chief diplomat. Every day, more ships arrive. Han nodded. They saw what humans did. We stood up to the bullies of the galaxy. Inside the chamber, Dr. J. Kim was speaking to the council and visitors from many worlds. The files from the Dominion base had revealed everything. How the Nexus had allowed the Dominion to terrorize developing worlds. How some Nexus officials had actively helped them. The old Nexus Alliance is finished, said Jai. Many worlds have left it, but something new is starting. On screens around the room, images showed what was happening across the galaxy. The Dominion was in retreat, pulling back to their core worlds as former victims rose against them. The corrupt Nexus officials had been removed, including Ambassador Lyran. "What happens now?" asked the council member. Jay smiled. "Now we build. The remaining Nexus worlds want Earth to join them, not as a junior member, but as an equal partner. They admire what we did." Han turned from the window. "And what did we do exactly?" "We did what humans have always done," said Da Kang, who was working with alien technicians to combine Earth and Nexus technologies. "We refused to accept limits. We saw a problem and fixed it, even when everyone said it couldn't be done." Jin Park, who had been quiet as usual, spoke up. "We didn't negotiate with terrorists. We showed the galaxy a different way." Later that day, Han met with his team in a small room away from the crowds and cameras. They sat around a table with drinks, a moment of quiet among friends who had faced death together. "I got the final count today," said Han. "Because of what we did, 63 worlds have broken free from Dominion control. Billions of people are free. Not bad for 4 humans in a stolen ship," said Jin with a rare smile. Dr. Yun Choi raised her glass. "To the impossible." They drank to that. A knock at the door interrupted them. A young aide entered. "Colonel, they're ready for you." Han nodded and stood. The others followed him to a large hall where people and aliens waited. At the center was a new ship, larger than the Ghost, but with the same sleek design. "The Freedom," said Jai, reading the name painted on its side. "First of Earth's new fleet." Han looked at the crowd. He saw faces of many colors and shapes, humans and aliens standing together, all looking to Earth with hope. A tall alien stepped forward. "The new Nexus representative. The galaxy owes Earth a debt. You showed us courage when we had forgotten what it meant." Han shook his head. "We just did what was right." "Perhaps that is what makes humans special," said the alien. "You see the right path and take it, no matter the risk." As the ceremony continued, Suk joined Han. "The Dominion is weakened but not gone. They'll be back someday." "And we'll be ready," said Han. "But we won't be alone next time." In orbit above Earth, dozens of ships from formerly oppressed worlds floated side by side with Earth vessels, the beginning of a new alliance, one built on courage and freedom, not fear. Ja looked up at them from the ground. "You know what changed the galaxy?" he asked Han. "What?" "Not our technology, not our weapons. It was an idea." "What idea?" asked Han. "That you don't bow to bullies, that you stand up for what's right, even when it's hard." Jai smiled. "Humans don't negotiate with terrorists, and now neither does the rest of the galaxy." Han looked at the stars appearing in the evening sky. Somewhere out there, the Dominion was plotting. The Nexus was rebuilding. The galaxy was in flux. But Earth had found its place among the stars. Not as a follower, but as a leader. Not through fear, but through courage. The day humans refused to negotiate had changed everything.